Hi everyone. Just wanted to jump on this quick video and share my experiences by using TechnoTutor and why I chose TechnoTutor for myself and my family. So just a quick background. My name is Carlos. I am in Houston, Texas. I am a licensed distributor. I was born in Mexico. I came into the United States when I was 8. So I'd say about a week later, I turned 9. And, like everyone else, our parents bring us here because they want to see us succeed. They want a better future for us. And now as a parent in the United States, I want the best for my kids as well. So the first reason, actually the main reason why TechnoTutor was a priority in my life was for my kids. I believe it was about a year ago that TechnoTutor came into our lives. It took us a while to obtain it, but it was a must. It was truly a must. I have a 3 and a 4-year-old. I am part of a system that, what we call it, a school system that did not really do much for myself. If it wasn't for sports, I don't know what I would have done or where I would have end up. Now, I graduated, did pretty well, grades, all that. But as soon as I jumped into college, it wasn't for me. I didn't have that drive. I'd never had that. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm gonna achieve. I was practically lost for a while. And obviously, I can't blame anybody for that. That's all me. But the system that was supposed to help me develop all those skills never really came through with it. So I knew that my kids were not going to go to school based on my own experiences and my own data. Now, when TechnoTutor shows up, all that data is literally proving me right. So in my eyes, I was lit up because I knew I was right. So that being said, we got TechnoTutor, I'm going to say about 4 months ago. Now, we are a Spanish-speaking family. That is our first language. And in my house, that is the language we spoke to our kids from day one. We wanted them to be obviously bilingual. We currently know a couple of families a lot of families that are from Hispanic backgrounds, and their kids don't speak Spanish. So we understand and we know that having two languages, it opens way more doors. And obviously we see it. I see it at work, stuff like that. My wife does too. So we knew that for the kids, Spanish had to be very, very important. And we obviously knew that English was going to be caught up throughout the years. Now, TechnoTutor has done a lot for us, especially for me as a parent, because I was the one with the idea of not putting the kids to school. And there's obviously many barriers behind that. And what are we going to do with this? What are we going to do with that? There's a whole dilemma behind that. But I was determined to make it a priority, even if I had to quit working, because you can't get those years back with your kids. And that's something that I'm very, very attached to. I'm very attached to my kids. They are my everything. When they came into my life, it was like it was this flip, like a switch just came on and said, you know what? You have a big responsibility. You have two bigger responsibilities now, and they're under your wings, And unless you know how to fly, you can't really teach him. So I had to put myself through that, but I didn't know how. I thought about it, and I knew something good was coming. I just didn't know what it was. So TechnoTutor shows up, and it felt like this huge weight on my back was lifted. It's just incredible how it works. And so we started with my 3-year-old. My 4-year-old, she was already working with letters, stuff like that, but not to an extent of 100%. Now, my 3-year-old, he's your typical boy. If he was in school right now, he probably considered or labeled with ADHD, stuff like that. So he's a normal kid. He loves going out. He loves playing. He loves jumping. He loves throwing himself around. He jumps on top of me. He's very active and he's very expressive. I mean, he's just your typical regular kid, that loves what he sees, what he is surrounded with. I mean, just think about it. Like, you come into a new place, it's called Earth, and there's all these rules, but yet you don't know what they are, and you're just exploring, you're expressing yourself with all your potential out there. And we put our kids in a system that in a way, the way I see it, the way I describe it, is that they cut their wings off. They cut off their creativity, their abilities, their potentials, and I can go on and so forth. So we started using TechnoTutor. It didn't take us more than 6 days for my 3-year-old to get the full alphabet. He recognized the full alphabet at 100% within 6 days. And when I say 6 days, I actually mean an hour or less, because obviously they're not used to using a computer or managing a keyboard. So it was more of a patience game. And for them, they're like, well, what is this? Well, okay, let me try it. And when the letters started popping up, and the way they pop up, it does what it literally has to do. It reaches your subconscious and it sticks. So within the first 6 days, we used it no more than 10 minutes. I'm going to say 5, 6, maybe 7, pushing it too much. And my 3-year-old just, got into the rhythm of getting all the letters correct at 100%. So it took us less than an hour in 6 days of teaching, quote unquote teaching. And ever since then, it's been incredible. I mean, my wife and I kind of looked at each other. We were like, well, he's 3. And I mean, we always thought he was all over the place. So we were like, it's going to be pretty tough teaching him how to read, write, etc. And TechnoTutor just made it incredibly possible and so fast that now, I mean, we're already moving into, and like I said, we haven't used it more than 4 months. And again, we don't use it every day. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on. Sometimes we come home late. The kids are asleep. They fall asleep in the car, etc. So I'd say we use it about 4 to 5 times a week, more or less. Sometimes we do 6, sometimes a full week, but I'm going to say in a full month, well, I'll tell you like this. We put it together in numbers, and in 3 months, let's just go for the 4. We haven't done more than 20 hours of work. And these kids are already, they already know how to spell their names by memory. They know all the alphabet. Again, we're a Spanish-speaking family, so we're teaching them in English. So my 4-year-old, after the 2nd month, she started picking up English extremely fast. Like, it was again, I looked at my wife. We were like, what's going on? And she was picking it up. She had the confidence to ask what things meant, how to say them. Like she'll say something in English, and then she'll try to put it in her own words, just like we all did, or at least I did. But then she started, I would explain to her, like, if you don't know what this means, all you have to do is ask. I'll give you my my perspective, my best to my best abilities. So as soon as I told her that, now every time she wants to know what this means, and just last night, I mean, she was like, "Hey, so what was the word? Having a break or something like that." I don't remember very well, but her ability to actually ask and say, "Hey, Dad, what does this mean?" Or "How do I say this? How do I say that?" It's incredible. It's incredible. And as soon as I tell her that, I put in that word, that vocabulary word, she'll start using it because she understands it. Another cool thing that happened was, she's always been very fearless. And so when she was almost 2, we do a lot of hiking, we do a lot of traveling. So that's another thing. That's another reason why TechnoTutor is amazing, because we're not tied up to a system that revolves Monday through Friday, certain hours, any of that. So with TechnoTutor, all we need is juice, and by juice I mean battery. That's all we need. Like, we can be camping and learning. We can be driving to Colorado, to Yellowstone, to McKinney, anything like that. Camping, and we're learning. So that right there is just it gives you a lot of freedom. So when she was 2, before she was 2, we hiked. Oh, I'm gonna say it was a waterfall, and we hiked. I'm gonna say more than 100 feet. Yeah. Oh yeah, way more than 100 feet, and I have pictures and everything. So, and I explained to her, even at that age, I understood that kids listen, kids understand, they are aware. So I explained to her what we were gonna do. I told her that she was gonna be on my back and not to worry, that I was gonna take care of her. And it's like she looked at me with these eyes, like, okay, I understand. I trust you. You're my father. And ever since that moment, she's been very, very extremely fearless. But one time, for whatever reason, we were at the pool, and she threw herself into the water. Obviously, she had a floaty, and she got scared, But I understood. I understood that fear was already in her. So I tried explaining to her. I tried having her see videos of her jumping and stuff like that, letting her know that, hey, you've done this before. It's okay. If you're afraid, we just have to remove that fear. We have to understand what fear is. After using TechnoTutor, it's like her comprehension became a lot higher. So last week, her brother, he's 3, but he started swimming at 2. The little guy's a fish. I was more afraid of letting him go than him, letting go of me. And once I understood that, I let him go, and he proved every single fear of mine wrong. So she sees him swimming all the time. So I started explaining to her. I was like, look, your brother is swimming now, and one day you are gonna swim too, because if one day, for whatever reason. So I gave her a scenario, and I explained to her that anything can happen, and I would be way more comfortable, and she would be way more comfortable if she knew how to swim, because swimming is an ability that if one day, if her brother pulled her, because they're kids and they play around in the pool, I was like, and I wasn't looking, I wouldn't want anything to happen to her. So she needed to be prepared. And again, I saw the same look when she was 2 years old. And she was like, okay, I understand. So that same day, she was like, you know what, Daddy, I'm ready. I'm going to take off the floaty, and I'm going to jump, and I'm going to swim. And obviously before that, with her floaties, all I would say was like, look at me. Look at how I swim. So her attention was very focused. She was like, okay, I see it. And obviously I show her my arms. There's obviously many ways of swimming, but the basic, that's what I was teaching her. So that one day, it literally took no more than 15 minutes. She decided on her own. She said, okay, today's the day. And she was very, very highly communicative with me. She was very confident. And this is very funny. So she takes off her vest. I'm inside the pool, and I'm waiting for her to jump, right? So she's standing there, and she's looking at herself, and she's just like, whew. She's breathing, and she's like, whew, okay. And she starts to bang her chest, and she says, I am confident. I am confident. And as soon as she does that, she jumps in and starts swimming towards me, right? And you can only imagine, as a parent, I mean, that's like, whoa, like it literally almost brought me into tears, which when I say almost, it actually did, but not, obviously I wasn't crying like a baby, but, it's very emotional. And the same thing happened to me when I started seeing the results and how fast TechnoTutor can develop anything that you put in front of it, in front of the user. And it's just, I don't want to say works miracles, but it's literally like close to that. Obviously I don't want to get into that word because, well, there's a lot of opinions and explanations behind all that, but it's extremely fast in the way that it develops your subconscious, conscious, and unconscious, and it brings it all together to 100% in less than 10 minutes. And I proved this for myself, and because when I met Cameron, he did this to me, and I was shocked. I was like, how is this possible? How does this work? And obviously the explanations comes in, the proof and all that. And it's all about improving ourselves, and if I had to describe TechnoTutor in very small words, I would say it's a self-programming tool. And the way I say that, or the reason why I say that, is because you can actually tap into your subconscious and do whatever it is that you want to do with it. Obviously, for myself, I want to re-educate myself. I want to amp my vocabulary. I want to learn. I want to understand. I want to comprehend. And all of that, TechnoTutor can offer you at the tip of your hands. So by me living it in front of me with my kids, I mean, it's so satisfying that I can now put my focus into something else, like the business side of it, because I have the proof in front of me. I mean, my kids are just, and obviously I'm going to edit this video, and I'm going to put some of the videos of the kids already starting to read within 4 months of using it, and my kids were nowhere near reading, and I'm not nowhere near capable. I don't have the receipts, the paperwork, the background for me to be able to do this, but I don't need it because I have TechnoTutor. And so yeah, back to the swimming. So it took 15 minutes, right? So she said, "Hey, I'm confident." Obviously, I explained to her what confidence was. I explained to her as well what fear is. Obviously, you give her the definitions, you give her ideas, you give her examples. So her comprehension was so on point that she was like, "Okay, I got it." She was like, "I understand it." So now, obviously, the swimming we're going to use it as an example for whenever another fear comes along, right? Because let's be honest, everyone's afraid of something, and the moment you realize it, it's the best thing you can do because now you can confront it. So, she jumps in and she starts swimming on her own. And little by little, she started swimming more and more and more and more and further until that same evening, she jumped towards me and I started swimming backwards so she can reach me. And all of a sudden, we reached the end of the pool. And, I told her, I was like, look, did you, realize what you just did? You just swam from here to there. And 10 minutes ago, you couldn't swim. So she kept telling me, oh, it's because I'm confident. And you told me I could swim. So then, she took it into consideration. So now, think about that. I told her she could do something. So when I tell her she can't, and when I scream at her and when I do all these things, like, the same process works the same way. So it makes you reevaluate yourself as a parent, as a person, as a brother, as a cousin, as a son, as a friend. So the tool itself is extremely powerful. I mean, there's really no words I can say that could do any justice unless you start using it for yourself. So I'll be sharing some videos. I'll edit this video and I'll put the videos of both of my kids, spelling their name, starting to read. You guys, you'll see it. And I mean, every day is just, we're climbing another rock. We're getting closer to the top. But if climbing to the top of that mountain used to take a year and a half, we're doing it in 1/3 of the time, if not less. So this just, it makes me feel so comfortable, and I can take learning wherever I want to, and all thanks to TechnoTutor. So with all of that being said, if any of you guys ever need help or anything like that, obviously at this time my specialty is with kids, or my kids, and if I can support you in any way, just you can see my name at the top. Reach me however you want to. Yeah, I mean, this is literally the future of education, and I am so glad that I am part of it. And I can't wait to see what's next. I really can't, especially with my kids. So thank you all. Yeah, have a good rest of the day.
Wow.
¿Cuál es esta?
D.
Okay.
I.
Okay.
N.
Okay.
O. F. A. U. R. S.
¿Qué dice?
Dinosaur.
Liam. Okay, ready, set, go.